Hey everyone, and welcome to the official Ecopedia livestream where alpha meets education and crypto finally makes sense. I'm Shadi, the head of global social media here at Bybit, and I'll be your host for today. So today we're kicking off the launch of Bybit Ecopedia, where we're doing it the only way we know how. High energy, sharp minds, and some serious alpha. And we have a $1,000 giveaway throughout this session, so make sure you stay tuned. We're joined by two epic teams, Team Stablecoin and Team Layer 1, will be facing off to see who's winning the race to adoption. Let's meet our speakers. Now, from Team Stablecoins, we have the one and only Da Vinci Jeremy.
Hey, how you doing, Shadi?
Very good. It's good to have you here. And then we have Fefe Demini. You need to unmute your mic, Fefe.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Great, perfect. So I guess let's go for a quick introduction for you guys before we introduce the new team.
Da Vinci?
All right, well, I'll take it away then. Yes, my name is Da Vinci Jeremy. I've been in the crypto space since March of 2011 when I started buying Bitcoin at $1, and I begged people to buy Bitcoin when it was $1 because I knew what it was. I knew it was going to replace all global money, and it's on its way to do that. Now that you see that governments are holding it as a reserves asset, so that's step one into being a global reserve currency of the world. So I saw this from a long time ago. People laughed at me, called me names, and here we are today. And it's only the beginning still.
Fantastic.
Cool. Hi, guys. My name is Fefe. I'm a host on Crypto Banter and the 100x Club. I'm a trader, bought Bitcoin in 2016, went full-time 2020, and full-time trading since 2022. Educate people. We've got schools. My big mission is to onboard 1 million people in the next 3 years. That's what I work for every single day.
That's great. Perfect. All right, let's introduce the Team Layer 1s. So we have Dusty BC, Cobra Dex, and Sammy or you can call him Four Flies, I guess.
What's up?
Yeah. Please, guys, introduce yourselves to everyone so they know who you are.
So on the left, I guess, Sammy.
Yeah, so been a trader for 8 years in crypto. I take a very realistic, kind of grounded approach to everything. Lots of skin in the game, and teaching how I do that on YouTube. Pretty stable cruise. I don't really do highs or lows. I don't do euphoria or sadness. I just like profit. Nice and easy, straightforward.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here with you. My name is Leonardo, known as Cobra Dex because I'm also in the space as Da Vinci for a long time, and working in cybersecurity and e-crime at that time was not good to people to know your name. So I always used that name, and I'm focused basically on DeFi, and I have a company helping the authorities in Dubai to track illegal activities related to crypto, and I do cybersecurity and development for smart contracts, basically. So hope today I don't have to take anyone with me.
You can take Dusty, though.
I knew you were going to say that. No, but fair enough. All right. So, yeah, I'm Dusty. I make crypto videos. I think I'm lagging a little bit, but hey, it's all good. Make crypto videos every single day over on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, you name it. I've been doing it for the past, I think, 8 years, something like that. Still enjoying it every single day. And I basically share crypto news, but also how I'm basically profiting off of the crypto market every single day, or basically over the next few years. And I invite people to watch, and take a look at how we do it over there. But yeah.
Okay, fantastic. It's good to have you all here. We've got an awesome session lined up, but before we get kick things off, we've got a little something for the audience. So if you're watching this and you haven't signed up to Bybit yet, now's your moment. We're giving away a total of $1,000 in prizes, starting with a $500 trade to win red packets. Round one is for all users. You just have to click on the red packet once it appears on your screen and trade at least $100 within the next 7 days. And then we have round two red packets, which is for new users only. And you just have to sign up and deposit $100 within the 7 days. So keep an eye on the red packets on your screen. So let's start with what is Ecopedia today, right now. So why are we all here today? Because we're introducing something big. Bybit Ecopedia, your free open access crypto education hub, built in collaboration with Solana, Aptos, Sui, Circle, and Tether. Ecopedia is where anyone can learn the essentials of Web3, fast, fun, and fluff-free. We're making crypto learning snackable, accessible, and real, especially for the next generation of users. So, we're going to start with Team Stablecoins, Fefe and Da Vinci. So, here's what we're going to cover. What are stablecoins and how do USDC and USDT work under the hood? Of course, discuss between yourselves and you can see who wants to answer this question.
Da Vinci, you can go ahead.
Okay, fine. So stablecoins were basically invented, well, way back. I remember 2014, I believe it was, that stablecoins started to come out. And they were basically allowing you to hold US dollars on a crypto platform, such as they were starting off, right? There was a few platforms that before Ethereum, right? And then once Ethereum came onto the scene, that's when really stablecoins really began to take off. Once they had a base platform or layer one to actually run off of. And so stablecoins are basically another cryptocurrency on top of another cryptocurrency platform that you can actually trade directly for goods and services and actually, pay people anywhere around the world. Try paying somebody with a Swift system or, any of the banking system. It's like next to impossible. So this is where, stable coins came to be. And then you can use it for decentralized finance and so forth. So basically, stable coins are just issued, most of them are issued by a custodial. So somebody manages the stable coin, ensures that every stable coin is backed up by some sort of asset, or may not be fully backed, right, by actual asset. But this is how stable coins came to be. And then there's all kinds of different type of stable coins beyond just the asset-backed stable coins, right? There's algorithmic stable coins. There's stable coins that are just created by DeFi. So, for example, you can you deposit your actual L1 token and you get a stable coin out, like for example, DAI. So there's a lot of different types of stable coins out there that you have to look into. I think the best ones, of course, are the USDT and USDC, mostly because they've been blessed by the governments. Because if they weren't, they would be gone right now because they're pretty much printing money there. So that's how I see it.
Okay, perfect. What about real world uses like remittances, e-commerce? You mentioned DeFi as well, or even treasury use.
I just want to add to what Da Vinci said. So very simply put, stable coins are one-on-one backed by fiat currencies. So whether that's a USDT, that's a US dollar backed coin on the blockchain. And the reason why there was need to do this is because you can utilize blockchain technology for international transfer that are fast, cheap, and you can custody it in your own wallet. You don't need any third party. And so the whole idea behind stablecoins is that they can replace fiat currencies. They can be backed by fiat currencies one-on-one and still take the advantage of the blockchain technology. And going on the fact, what is the use cases? Well, you've got a bunch of use cases. One is immediately, Da Vinci mentioned the Swift system, or if you just want to do an international bank transfer, it takes 3, 4, 5 days. Just people basically pushing data from one way or another. And remember, the reason why we need central entities, whether that's banks or any central entities, because of trust. We needed to make sure that if we send money from one place to another, that money will actually get there and not be fake cash or anything like that. And so, but now we have the blockchain technology. We don't need all this infrastructure that is built around centralized entities. We can just simply send from one wallet to another instantly, even hundreds of millions of dollars, and without spending insane amount on fees. You can spend it for a fraction of the cost. But of course, as you said, real world assets, so you can purchase anything with it. What for me, my biggest thing, or what I see and this is why Trump is very heavy on stablecoin legislation, is because it gives access to people who do not necessarily have access to USDT and the US dollar or euros or any other currencies.
Yes, and also these stable coins are generally the unit of account in any of these countries that, and then you create also contracts payable in those stable coins. You don't create contracts payable in other like L1s such as Bitcoin or Ethereum or something like that. So this is the reason why stable coins exist. So you could pay off your obligations in that particular currency, which is the US dollar or the euro, and use USDT or USDC to do so.
Fantastic. Yeah, good answers, guys. That's really insightful. And how do you think stablecoins will help onboard like the next billion?
Well,
yeah, I mean, go ahead, Da Vinci. Go ahead.
Yeah, I see that. Well, people, first off, when they say real money, well, how do I get this real money out of Bitcoin? It's unfortunate that they say that is stable coins and U.S. money and is not real money. It's fake money, right? Somebody gets to print it for free. But this is what they believe, and so we have to accept that, right? What people believe and what is are two different things, right? So, and so right now the perception is that the U.S. dollar is real money, the euros is real money, and so when they use that directly to pay each other, they can easily, right? Because these systems of current financial systems, fiat financial systems, will come to an end. This will give them the ability to actually get out of this fiat system very rapidly into a real monetary system. So that's the positive, and I think we're going to see people come on because it's easier. They realize, oh shoot, man, I have to leave my money in the bank, and the bank sometimes is shut down. The bank doesn't let me withdraw only $400. I mean, it's so easy to switch over to a stable coin compared to leaving it at a bank, which gives you no interest anyways. That it's obvious that, hey, and then you can go into DeFi, so you can earn interest on your stable coins. So and not have to worry about, is that DeFi contract going to go bankrupt? No, it can't go bankrupt. It's just an algorithm. So that's the advantage of that. And you can actually withdraw your stable coins from any DeFi system immediately. And then, pay your bills. So that's the power of it. And it's beautiful that people are going to be coming on, because then they'll eventually just jump into Bitcoin.
Yeah, of course. I want to start paying my rent with stable coins. That would be amazing.
Yeah, so for me, I believe and again, I just think it's very, very important to understand that using stable coins there is a very little difference between using dollars and using stable coins, but the difference makes it much more easier and much more safer and much more cheaper to do transactions. So what we have to, through our schools as well, we educate people on getting into crypto from very basic. So I meet hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people every week on who wants to get into crypto. And the number one question is, other than what is Bitcoin and why is Bitcoin and why is it actually the solution to our monetary problems? The second question is, why would I actually start using something else? Like I've been using, Swift, I've been using my bank and it worked very well. I'm using PayPal. Like I don't need anything else. Until they realize the actual advantages. Again, fast payments, cheap payments, self-custody. So all that stuff that you can have with stable coins. So I believe they are obviously going to be essential. And I just want to add one more thing, again, just going back to the US with their Genius Act, which is basically the legalization and the creation of a framework for stablecoin legislation in the United States. The reason why it's very, very important for the United States is because the US dollar dominance across the globe. Now, there are a lot of countries, especially hyperinflation countries, that do not allow their citizens to get access to US dollars because the US dollar, even though it's inflating like crazy, it's still more stable than the local currencies. And so with creating a legal framework where these stablecoin issuers can be verifiable, because the problem is that Da Vinci said as well, we don't know how much Tether is printing. We don't know if it's backed one-on-one. We just have a promise and there is some audits and whatever, but we don't actually know if it is happening. And once there will be regulation, when there will be a legislation framework that these companies will follow and be audited based on by government entities, that will allow anyone to have trust in these stable coins and start deploying, maybe exchange their local currencies into this without actually being tracked. And I do think that is going to be very, very big in the emerging countries.
That's a very good point. So it is empowering users in places with unstable currencies, and it's allowing them to kind of have access to the, let's say, the global dollar, but digitally.
And at the same time, strengthening the US dollar, like on a global scheme.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. That was a very good argument that you guys had there. That's fantastic. Now we're going to let the layer ones hear. We want to hear their case. So let's turn it over to you guys. Let's start with what differentiates each chain: tech, speed, and dev culture. The panel is open to any of you guys to mention this.
I've got to hand that over to someone else because that is a very technical question. I don't want to get the little details wrong.
Okay, I will go if no one has anything missed. So basically, what's the fact? We can see for the layer ones, there is a very good example now with Solana. So we know the layer one for instance, it's Ethereum. Yeah, everything started from Ethereum. But what was the problem in the last years? That Ethereum was like looking too much forward, as we can see from the price action, was too much focusing on L2s. So basically the L2 are the future. That's undebatable, and we all know about that. But we were a little bit earlier now. So we can see the price action of Solana. It's that good actually, not because only of the hype or because people using it, but because they actually focused so much on building a real L1. Of course, we can debate about centralization and everything, but no one is pointing a gun to the head of the people to use a centralized chain. Basically, they use it because they know it's centralized, and they know that a centralized chain can give you things that other chains cannot give to you. I think that's very important, especially for mass adoption, because if we see the layer ones, they are much faster and reliable about real use case. For example, if I want to build a game on Solana or Sonic or Sui, basically people will play a game not even realizing that they are playing on blockchain because it's fast as a real system, basically. So I think that's very important for the mass adoption, because at the moment people feel very far away from the DeFi ecosystem. So it's nice for us because we understand what we are doing, but people are scared because they don't understand. So I think layer ones are very important because they give you the opportunity to use them without even realizing you are using DeFi and blockchain, basically. And I think now the main difference is about just the people working on it. That doesn't reflects the price and the success. Always, for example, we have as layer one Sonic, the price action is going not very good, but I think they have developer side the best developers across all the layer ones. So that doesn't mean that if the devs are good, also the price action is good. I think it's really a big mix of factors, but I think layer one it's what we need to gain a mass adoption and to make this place safer. Let's say that's why we see that all the stable coins also. No, I should not be supposed to speak about stable coins, but layer one and stable coins basically cannot live without each other. So we see that all the native stable coins are actually minted on layer ones, basically 90% of the case. Why? Because it's reliable, it's fast, and it's safe. So that's what I think about that topic.
It's different use cases, right? Layer ones will bring something to the table that perhaps hasn't been built before, whereas stable coins allow you to feel safer when you're in this environment. And you can treat layer ones, you can treat Bitcoin as a stable if you want. Bitcoin is a stable these days, isn't it? But you can use one of your holdings to kind of help you grow your portfolio at the same time as kind of leveraging technology. there is definitely space for both, and I think choosing between one or the other is a really, really tough choice because of that. Because like being able to park up, have some security is very, very important, but being able to deploy when you want to kind of start taking risk on something, what are you going to deploy? You're not going to deploy your capital into a stable. It's not going to grow for you.
Yeah, also never forget, as a e-crime guy, that if you're using stablecoin only to escape the bank system, you're making an error, because basically I need to push a button to freeze USDT and the USDC, So basically, if you use stablecoin only because you want to be free, maybe it's not the real case. People don't understand that it's very easy to freeze your stablecoin no matter where they are, basically.
I think it's
actually,
like with the conventional banks, you've got days of waiting, right? And it could like managers approvals and stuff like that. You're not going to have those issues in stables, but of course, yeah, it's centralized, it's controlled, so you're not using completely free finance either.
To quickly get back a little bit on the previous track, I think a lot of people watching might not have any idea what a layer 1 stands for, or what the whole debate it might actually be about. So the core idea when they talk about layer 1 is actually just the main platforms, and I see him lagging. Sorry about that. But like Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe XRP, all those, and they all have a little bit of a different purpose. One might be made for just having as many apps on it as possible. Like Ethereum, for example, you could argue that it's made for that. Or Solana, or maybe Sui, Aptos, all those. They have Bitcoin, which I guess is more meant to be just Bitcoin at its core, or have Bitcoin on it. Now, they're building different things on it as well, which they are also doing on Ethereum. But at the core, the layer 1 is that. Every single one of those stablecoins that people use, for the most part, what Cobra just said, 90% of them are on layer 1s. And if you're comparing a stable to a layer 1, it's essentially saying, hey, do you want to keep your money in something that's going to stay hopefully exactly $1 but have different advantages, versus you want to invest in something that, again, there's 1,000 different ones with different purposes. One is meant to hopefully create a whole new financial system, is what they aim to do with their platform, let's call it. But you could essentially see them all as different companies, maybe not officially, but you can see them all as that, serving a different sort of problem through a different method, where one is more decentralized than the other, one is perhaps faster than the other, one has perhaps different features. But essentially comparing them, I don't know how that would work, because one is $1 exactly, and one has so many different fluctuations and different things to it. To add to that, though, even stablecoins, you still have to ask yourself which one you're going to pick. Right, you're going to pick Tether, you're going to pick Tether. Every single one of them has a different set of new problems. But the same thing applies to layer 1s. There's so many different ones. They're all kind of the same nowadays, it feels like. Yeah, it's a little fun fact on the side.
They are literally largely the same, and they're just built so that the next team can get the money.
Damn, that's pessimistic.
It's true, bro. It's 100% true. They're so similar. So many of them are so you can't reinvent the wheel, right? Like at this point, it's little optimizations that you can make in a lot of different cases, right? Like some of the things that really are very appealing in DeFi are not ready yet. And I think a big part of that is that adoption angle, right? Like a lot of it requires an ecosystem, and an ecosystem requires a lot of people, and the people are not there yet. They're not using it in that way. For a lot of people, it's still just speculation.
So you're saying no more L1s need to be made, basically?
100%. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The problem is that there are over 100 layer 1s, and there are over 100 layer 2s on top of the layer 1s, trying to make the layer 1s better, faster, cheaper, more secure, whatever that is. We're talking about 200 different projects potentially, which are most likely maybe 120, whatever is active. That's definitely not needed. Like there's no question that we don't need this. The question really is because I think everybody was riding the wave, right? I'm launching, you could have raised VC money, which finally just, going away a little bit, but you could have raised VC money with the greatest idea that's basically the same thing as I'm going to be the next Solana, but I'm going to do this and this and this. Like I literally got reached out by someone who's building, and I'm not kidding. Like, I'm sorry if someone is associated, I'm not going to say the name, but they are building a layer 1 for a toothbrush brand. So they can, so when you're like doing your toothbrush, there will be a layer 1 and they will have their own tokens on their own layer 1, and then you can earn. It's just crazy. You don't
sounds
need
good.
all that stuff. Yeah, sounds fantastic. You just don't need it.
Sign me up, brother. That's a good ass ad. I see you, bro. It's not,
just don't
it's not
need
going
it.
through
You don't
me.
need any of this shit, bro. You don't need any of this shit. That's the thing. You just don't need it.
Isn't it the same for stablecoin though? I mean, they're all essentially the same thing. They
No,
all
because
do
that's
the same.
because of decentralization. Like, I do not want, if there will be regulation, sure, I don't actually care whose stablecoin I'm going to use. If it's going to be regulated and whatever. But you see what happened with FTX as well. The same thing with using exchanges. It's very, very important that you understand the risk that you're taking by using one stablecoin. If Tether, you remember every single cycle, we have the Tether fund. Like every single cycle. Oh my God, Tether is going to go under. Is Tether audited? I'm going to just not use, Tether is depegging now. And then every single cycle we have that. And we did see a lot of stable coins going bust, So like, I think it is a problem and it is a challenge to use the stable coin. This is why we need worldwide regulation. But until that comes, I think it's very relevant to not use something that is algorithmic stable coins, for example. Might be a good idea, but you just want to make sure that you keep your funds in something that's regulated.
Yeah, I've been around when USDT depegged a few times. It was 50% depeg, and so yeah, it was some scary times, right, back in the early days. And yeah, it's depegged not as much, but it has depegged quite a bit. And so this is the risk you take when you get into stable coins, right? Because it's all about do you trust the third party that's handling them? But I think USDT is the oldest stablecoin out there. So, and I always thought that they were going to go under. I swear to God, because it was clear that they were printing it. But because
it's the truth. It's the truth. I agree with you.
Pump it.
Okay. But because they must have had some sort of greased the palm of somebody in government and somebody in law enforcement, somebody somewhere, to allow them to continue, because that's not possible for them to continue. Because I was here when Mt. Gox was the only exchange, and it got raided several times, right? There was other companies that allowed you to hold your money that they were using, third-party companies that they were using to so you could transfer money to Mt. Gox, and they were not compliant with the regulations with the government, and they were not even in the United States. And the U.S. sent SWAT down there, sent the military down there to close those companies.
Right, where were they based?
I think one was in Guatemala.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm sure if we look it up, from when Mt. Gox was, they lost like several $1 million because it was raided. I forget what the name of the company was, but people were using it to store, to transact with U.S. dollars, right, in together without having to go through a banking system, and that was like no, right back then. So that's why I was thinking, okay, how is USDT is going to handle this, right? Because they don't allow that generally, where you can create a US dollar, a same US dollar system and be able to transact, right? So basically, any of us can create a US dollar system. We just say, okay, well, guys, trust me, and deposit your dollars here, and I will just keep them 1-to-1, and you could transact between each other. But the problem with doing that on my system, right? So the problem with doing that is that you fall into money transmitter law, and then once you do, right, they'll come and get you, no matter where you are. Even if you are Mr. Honest Engine, you've got every single dollar backed up. They're gonna come and get you, right? So that's why I was quite surprised, right? If you don't have any regulation, like you didn't go through the regulation of actually being a bank, of course, right? Assuming you didn't do that. No. So yeah, I was surprised that USDT was allowed to exist because they didn't go through the right regulatory clearance.
To be honest, it was also a fully strange story as to how it came to existence, right? With Bitfinex, like as an IOU, we don't have actual dollars, but here's this token of perhaps you'll eventually get a real dollar back out of it. So if you think about it from that angle, it's kind of cool it survived at all. But now that we're here and it's one of the most profitable companies in the world, it does make you think. that
and that's
eventually.
only 16 employees with 9 billion profit. To go back on what Da Vinci said, I think that's a very good point to see the interaction between L1 and the stable coins, because I also remember back in the days, there used to be also flash the peg of USDT by 80%, 70%, 50%. But nowadays, it's very clear. You can see on Ethereum, on the layer 1, how the mint and redeem process works. And basically now, why USDT is not depegging that much anymore, because if USDT depegs 20%, let's say, or 10%, you just buy USDT, you go to the minting and redeeming process, and basically you buy 100, let's say $100 with $80, and you redeem $100 actually on your bank account. So
Is it the same with Circle?
Huh?
Is it the same with
It's the
USDC?
It's the same with Circle, but why? You remember the crisis that we had when Circle depegged very much lately?
Oh, yes, of course.
Was because the bank that Circle used was closed during the weekend. So basically, people tried to redeem and they were like, nah. You wait until Monday. So people didn't know until Monday if they actually had the money or not.
See those banks again, huh? Screwing us.
The legacy systems, bro.
That's
Getting
the
up
main
on
There's one thing that I
crypto.
wanted to add, which is an interesting statistics, is that now more and more talks on, again, circles being US based and issuing stable coins, and on the talk is that these guys have to, they have to back their minted coins. That means if you have one USDC on chain, they should somewhere have that one USDC in the bank. And so what do they do with that money? Well, they actually have to kind of buy something with it so it doesn't just inflate in cash. And what they do is that they buy treasury bills and bonds. And the way it works out currently, without having any straightforward legislation, about 3% of all T-bills are held by stablecoin issuers. So now we're getting into a situation where all this depegging is going to be a thing of the past, because stablecoin issuers will get to a level with them holding enough T-bills that it will be a threat to the government for them to go under. So it will be their best interest to make sure that there is no depeg, there is no bankruptcy and all that. So it's going to be a very interesting time going forward.
I mean, it makes sense the way you're telling it. I mean, I gotta lie. There's a logical sort of. I mean, JPM just also announced their. Was it them announcing it, or was it just?
No, they just booked the name.
That's what they did.
I think it's JPMD. And the D doesn't stand for what you think. It stands for dollars. JPM dollars, probably.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I don't know if I want to trust the bank stable coin, but whatever.
I mean, bank stable coin, Sam Bankman-Fried stable coin. To me, everything is juicy, right? I have a lot of UST. You can actually buy it off me for $1 a coin if you're interested in that.
Gee, thanks,
I got a
man.
good.
How white of you?
I got a good chunk of those left. Don't worry about that.
Amazing. Well, I think we jumped into the panel start. I mean, the discussion part too early. But I had one more follow-up question to the Layer 1 team. If you had to onboard first-time user, what's one L1 app you'd show them and why?
Phantom.
Yeah, just get them on meme coins, straight in the trenches. No shame.
Honestly, Sammy, you look. If I think of a trencher right now, the way you're looking, bro, you just downloaded the Phantom app. You just loaded $100 in Solana on your thing, and I'm full time. I quit my job, and you're gonna start.
Yeah,
you're looking. I'm not gonna lie, bro. But
yeah, no, I couldn't be more different. I used to have the 6 monitors in the background as well, going all extra, but I've toned it all back so much now. I'm just keeping it super, super simple, sticking to what works. Ultimately, look, if you're trying to get your grandma in or someone random off the street, flash a couple dollars in front of them and they might be interested. And so, yeah, that's kind of those overnight success stories. It doesn't work, by the way. You've got to be pretty good at it, have a really, really good edge. Ideally be an insider. You're not really going to just enter the trenches and make money. I think it's always kind of better to, do something a little bit more sensible, a little bit more planned out. But, that's going to be how you get people in at first. I mean, we all ultimately, I don't know. I speak for
party
myself.
Pooper.
I got in because I just wanted to get very, very rich. And then I just kind of learned everything else from there. I felt like that was kind of the easy way.
I
You know,
disagree.
when I
What do you
introduce people
disagree on, bro?
to layer one, I usually give them a Tron wallet with just USDT and Tron inside, so at least I know that they cannot make damage. But now you can make damage also on Tron chain, so nothing is safe.
You sent them Tron USDT out of everything. The most difficult. You sent them Tron. Oh my God. I mean,
Right.
don't do that.
Right.
If I send $100 on Tron to my grandma, she's gonna get a stroke or something. She's like, "What am I looking at?" No, definitely not doing that. If you want easy, just Phantom. I'm not, I'm not the biggest advocate. It's not. I mean, I use MetaMask more, but in terms of ease, Phantom is just easiest. Maybe some Solana or something like that. And again, just put your hand down and start losing money. That's like literally 99% of what the people will do.
That's the problem. It's so easy that you are, even if you just use it to move money, you are like forced from an external force to push on the browser button and go to trade meme coins. That's the
You just go to the most trendy new coins, you put some money into every single one of them, and then the next few days you lose everything, and then you learn. The next time, you should probably try it one more time, and then once you lose again, then you learn that you probably should think of a better strategy.
Yes.
What'd you say?
The second time you learn that the third one maybe is the good one.
Hopefully, but
If you
probably
break
not.
even for like minus 50%, you'll do something.
Yeah, if anybody wants to watch our show, we go into the trenches live here in Dubai. Yeah, you've been there, right? You've seen it, right? It's like
In
disgusting.
the Maldives. That's pure degeneracy, yes.
Exactly. If you want to see real degens, I do it live every day at 10 o'clock Dubai time. It's funny as F, man, especially when we went in deep on Mama Coin, right? And then we pulled out.
It's pretty far away from a stablecoin, by the way.
But this is what meme coins are all about, right? Just jokes, stupid jokes.
Yeah, fair enough. It's not your thing, huh, Semi?
I feel like, everybody's kind of just watching what's going on, right? Like, everyone's kind of in the conversation. So, I mean, especially right after Trump got elected, like, I think it really proved it to us that you can just literally sit on Twitter all day and find something ridiculous, and then there's already a token for it. And, just
1,000.
bid it. What was that?
1,000 now. It's too fast. If there's anything, any new rocket, whatever in that department, there's at least a few hundred tokens in a few seconds.
I mean, you could pass your whole day just literally just being a degen. It's actually quite brilliant, like as a bit of a pastime. You learn a lot about human psychology because these charts are really pure, right? Like ultimately, it'll move in quite pure ways until it either gets rugged or it reaches legend level and goes far beyond 100 mil.
This is the furthest away from pure. Oh, brother, no! It's just three guys in a bedroom somewhere deciding exactly what happens to that thing.
And they manage the price, yes.
But it's the ultimate dream, right? That your thing hits above 100 mil, stays there, gets listed on Binance, Bybit. That's the glory run we're all going for.
I don't know about we.
Anyone in the trenches. I'm trying to be inclusive. I think it's ridiculous.
I knew you were a shady dev. I saw it already when you put the freaking cap on. I knew it. I don't know too much about L1s. All in on memes, actually, huh? I see you.
Awesome. Well, I kind of lost what I was gonna say, but I mean, a poll went live already for users to vote who had the best argument, and I hope everyone voted in. And of course, the red packets got distributed as we were arguing at the moment. But let's stir the pot a little more, maybe. If you had to explain crypto to your grandma, would you use a stablecoin wallet or maybe a Solana Phantom wallet?
Just quickly. Why would you ever think, stablecoin? Here, grandma, do whatever you want. What's she gonna do? Why would that be logical for her at all to spend these USDTs, whatever, like real dollars, if she wants to get into crypto? I don't think that's ever a really. Oh wow, you've actually given me phone dollars instead of dollars I already had in my bank. I don't think that's really gonna do too much at the start. I think it's cooler if you actually give her a freaking dog-looking ass coin and tell her, this is the future of finance, something like that. I think that's honestly how you really make her day, instead of giving her like $3 in actual dollars. But hey, just my thoughts, right?
Okay, cool. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. You could still look at it in the earn sense of it. You still get better APR on crypto. stablecoins.
That's what you're gonna explain to your grandma. Like, oh, but actually, no. You need to go through 47 different steps to get yourself some dollars on this app. By the way, an app, you won't understand what an app is. Don't worry about that. But you will get a 3.6% APR. Oh, nah, shit. I don't know. I don't think that's.
God. I'm dying.
Make the argument.
I'm dying here. For me, stablecoins would be a bad idea too. I think you would have to give her Bitcoin, and because you know where the direction is, right? I mean, I don't know how many stories where people who forgot their Bitcoins and became millionaires, and that's it. It is the easiest one because you don't have to do anything, right? And you increase the number of dollars that you get.
Exactly. And if you buy Bitcoins to your grandma, hopefully soon they will be your Bitcoins also. Okay, that's
Oh, man. Unhinged, bro.
Sorry.
That's a good one.
Oh, damn. Wow.
I guess the same would happen for stablecoins, though. So I guess that's ultimately it will come back to you. See it. I guess this is actually a good reason to tell your family, tell everybody that's one layer above you, right? Why they should be investing a ton of money in this. Because if you think about it, if they do the freaking compounding, that should be a good investment strategy. Think about it.
Yeah, but my dad got into it and he sold though. He sold it all once he saw too much money. Unfortunately,
Well,
that's the sad part, I guess, about it in this situation.
Exactly.
All right. I guess you should tell him never to sell. I guess be a diamond hand holder for his own sake, sort of.
Yeah, but he's 72, so what's he gonna do? Leave it to me?
Yes, that's the whole point. That was the strategy. Didn't you get the step 1 and 2 plan? Oh man.
Okay, how about this? Do you think stable coins will become like the default for payments and saving rather than like you leaving it in the bank?
People don't realize that actually in many countries of the world it's already like that. So I guess it's a yes.
How about the US though?
CBDC is the only way I can see that happening. I feel like let's just not go there. Keep it separate.
Yeah, but Bitcoin's as much as you don't want to save for long term with stablecoins. Stablecoins has their purpose and it's not saving for the long term. Nobody plans to save with dollars in the bank for the long term, so you can't plan to save with dollars on stablecoins. You will save with Bitcoin for the long term because eventually it will become money because you can save for the long term and say, okay, well, I know that they're going to have more value in the future, not less with Bitcoin.
I think it kind of depends on circumstance, right? Like if you want to send money to someone in a different country and, like it's just simple, like remittances, right? Like that's where it really kind of shines through. And of course, parking up before you want to put your money somewhere. Obviously, that's where it becomes useful again as well. Yeah. Everyday use is difficult, I mean, I think, but what I do think is you are going to see a lot more people fluent in it. It'll be an option for a lot more people. It's a payment method in a lot of places, kind of, especially if you travel. Like if you go to certain parts of the world, it's quite popular. So it'll be like who uses WhatsApp versus iMessage versus I don't know Snapchat. It's just different audiences, different demographics use different products, and crypto's essentially almost mainstream now, maybe.
Yeah, almost mainstream, yes.
Almost.
Yeah, but it'll get there. It'll get there probably in the next cycle, by the next cycle, because you see it right when you have a Bitcoin president, right? So it's big. It's big when we're here, and we're growing companies that that are basically increasing their Bitcoin supply so they can increase their stocks, so stock price. So there it is. And since you've come up, since it's a fixed asset supply against a unlimited supply of money, this is a grow forever story, basically.
Hey, Cobra, by the way, now, since you're the cybersecurity expert, what is like a very good or high yield that people are getting right now on stablecoins that is not essentially like completely disgustingly dangerous, so to speak? Like, what is the yield? I have no idea. Is it like 6%? Is it like 14%? Is it like 19%?
You know what's the main problem? There is a yield actually now on stable coins that it's around 18%, and it's actually the safest. Sounds crazy that 18% is safer than 3%. The problem is that it's very difficult to get, so it's not for normal people, because basically you have to do V3 positions on Uniswap, staying always in a low range ticker, and I don't think my grandmother can do that. So
I mean,
it's very complicated, but like a safe DeFi, actually it's very safe. If you go, for example, on Aave, you can get from 3 to 6% on stable coin, and there is just one factor you have to check to always be safe. So I mean, even a person that cannot understand what's going on can have a 6% and stay safe. So for people that don't understand, I would say 6%. For people that understand what they do in DeFi, there are yields around 18, even 25% when the market is volatile, that are actually much safer than just having money in the bank, to be honest.
All right.
All right.
Well, there you go. So hey, let's do one final question, I guess, to just wrap up. What are you more bullish on this month? BTC, gold. I was going to end it at BTC or gold, but let's say also meme coins. BTC, gold, or meme coins. Just say whatever it is.
Bitcoin.
Okay.
It's hard, bro. It's like almost political, isn't it? Like
This
gold
month,
is not
you
looking
say?
too bad.
What are you
This month.
bullish on though? It's not really a political question. It's about like your what are you?
No,
bullish
but if you think
It
that
is
there's
a
going to be
little
more political instability in the next few days or few weeks, then it's gold, right? Like Bitcoin kind of suffered when things started to erupt a few days ago, and gold was up, which is what you expect.
I think.
How about you, Fefe?
Yeah, I'm gold. I mean, unfortunately, if you're asking the next week, it's gold. If you're asking the next, 3 years or 2 years, whatever, is Bitcoin.
Of course,
Like
yeah,
I think
it's not a
Bitcoin will
debate,
outperform
yeah.
everything. I think the geopolitical tension is going to go away as well, but it might need 2-3 weeks. We'll see how that goes. But ultimately, if you look at gold is climbing and climbing and climbing, and Bitcoin is consolidating. And I do think that there can be a sell-off. Everything depends on this whole situation in the Middle East. Like
It
literally
could
everything.
be that a deal gets striked, and then that's it. Everything that was tying these markets down is gone, and we get a massive explosion. That's what I'm hoping for, and that could happen in the next 2 weeks. It's getting pretty hot right now, you know what I mean? So, either it goes crazy or they shut it down, So
I personally think a deal is going to be made this week.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
Let's not go
Yeah.
onto the politics, but like Iran doesn't have any other option than make a deal this week.
It looks that way. I feel the same, So I can't help it. I'm always kind of optimistic about these markets.
Guys, there is one important thing that no one never thinks about when speaking about Bitcoin. So, of course, my choice is Bitcoin, but let me explain you why. I'm Italian, for example, okay? I have an Italian passport. My wife is Russian. She has a Russian passport. There is one thing people don't ever think about. We are very lucky that we have good passports. We had like 38 or 40% possibility to be born in another place in the world when our passport is very weak, let's say, okay? And it's not the fact that my Italian passport that is so strong now will be so strong in 15 years, because we see how the world is moving. Like there is war after war, countries staying with other countries, maybe changing the side. So guys, I don't think people understand that Bitcoin, it's not important, the value of Bitcoin. Because if I have Bitcoin and I store it correctly, I don't care if it's minus 50%, plus 50%. It's the only way to have money that actually no one can touch and give me freedom. And since I think freedom is the most important thing in the life of a person, that it's extremely short, we don't realize how short it is. I think to have Bitcoin correctly stored gives you that freedom. So it doesn't matter if the price goes up or down. It's the only thing that actually can save you, because you can have tons of gold, but then if you have to change country very fast and you have problems, I want to see how you will deal with 10 tons of gold.
Yeah, but if you have to change country from Italy very fast, you will have much bigger problems, and Bitcoin is probably going to nuke. And again, I'm like a Bitcoin maxi as well, but I'm just saying, like, the only reason why I buy anything else is to outperform Bitcoin in a short period of time and just accumulate more Bitcoin. But I think, yeah.
But if I have to choose between a nuke of 70% of my Bitcoin value, that it's not little since I buy from a long time, I prefer to have a currency that actually drops 80%, but I still have it and I can use it, rather than have a bank account that will be frozen because I don't have a good passport. So I think that freedom only Bitcoin can give to you, to be honest.
But we just talked about stablecoins. Like stablecoins can literally give you that.
Yes, but stablecoin, you need to push one button and you can freeze the everywhere in the
Yeah,
world.
but you know, like that. I agree with you, but that's like imagine them moving a finger for, even if you have $10 million, $20 million, that's nothing compared to, like, you can allocate 3, 4, 7, 10 different wallets from a centralized exchange. You can put it through. I don't think that's a threat for everyday people, mortals. I don't think that is a threat.
It's only
So
a threat for governments.
If I conclude this correctly, the best answer would still be meme coins then, right?
Fart cat.
Fart cat. Fart coin. Oh, quality
I
assets,
I got fart cat, right? And then it exploded.
Which direction?
When I don't know how. It just went from nothing to
From the back, huh? The explosion, if you know what I mean? Fart cat.
14,000%.
Oh, that's pretty solid. Anyway, meme coins, I don't know. I think honestly, if you're lucky, meme coin will definitely outperform anything else. But then it's just like, right? But if you're asking what will do the best, you just need to find one of the right ones. But if I had to make a guess, I'd still say Bitcoin though.
Yes,
Right? You just said 10 minutes ago that it's 3 dudes in a living room deciding the future of these coins, and I 100% agree with that. But it's like
so if you're one of those 3 dudes,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, fine.
Second option, you're like Sammy. You sit behind a computer. Not exactly Sammy. I don't mean you specifically. It just means somebody who sits behind the computer, watch the coins all day. You strike gold and you outperform Bitcoin in for like 5 years worth of gains, or 20 years worth of gains, I guess, if you're on.
I want to know how many people actually do that. I feel like it's, I think most people that say they do it don't actually get there.
Zero, bro.
You say that, and then you do realize some people are making freaking bank, though.
Some,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
very few.
Of course.
Some of them,
it's working
statistically
for someone.
Yeah, but the same thing applies to trading in general, I guess. Most
you're
people
right.
don't
But
do-
it's a lot more methodical in trading, right? Like you've got,
I don't know about
control
that.
the odds a lot more than, in
It's
a
just
meme
a
coin.
PvP game already. It's a PvP game, and with luck, that's it.
True. I guess meme coins are PvP, like PvP squared. You're sure somebody's just trying to loot you the whole time. Oh, yeah, you're right. But then again, if you're lucky, meme coins are the best thing in the world ever. But if you're unlucky, you'll lose everything.
Or you finish in my office.
What?
Or you finish in my office.
Yeah, don't end up there, I guess. Oh, damn. Nice.
All right. Great. I mean, guys, it's been like an absolute pleasure to have you all on here. It was a great discussion, a great argument. I'm just going to mention the quick campaign walkthrough before I conclude. So all you have to do is just register for your Bybit account, deposit $100, read an article, take a quiz, and you can share $2,500 in rewards. Just head over to the Ecopedia landing page and you can get started. But just to wrap up our Ecopedia live stream, a huge thank you to all our guests. Guys, you've been amazing. I've laughed so much in this stream, and I hope we can do it again sometime. It would be great. So don't forget, join the Ecopedia campaign and check out our full collection of beginner-friendly crypto explainers live now. And thanks for joining, and we'll see you in the next live stream.
Cheers.
Perfect. Peace.
You didn't tell us who won. What was the vote?
Oh, I didn't even see. Can someone?
Which question?
Yeah. Who voted the most? Sorry, my bad. I need to.
But what was the question at hand? Like, what was the?
No.
Which argument are we talking about?
It's just
Stablecoins versus.
They voted who had the best arguments towards whether it's stablecoin or L1s. When I asked you guys about stablecoins and L1s. So let me just check really quickly what is the vote.
Y'all can take this win. I don't even remember exactly which side it was on. It's all good. It was a good discussion.
Take care, guys.
It doesn't matter.
The crypto industry won.
Yep.
Stablecoins won.
Yes!
There you go.
I already expected that, of course. I mean,
All right.
oh shit! I was not on stablecoins.
Okay. All right.
All
Take
right.
care, guys. Thank you so much. Ciao,
Guys,
ciao.
take care.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Yo.
Bye.